I believe in open doors. I've taken off the screen. I'm ready to let the world come inside and touch my life. I will no longer be defined by what someone else believes that I am. And now that I have dropped the weight, I am light as a feather. It's time to elevate. Sober rise, lift your eyes, spread your wings, and prepare to fly. This is the moment of your life. Go ahead and fly. I believe in open doors. I'm outside of the box. What did not demolish me simply polished me. Now the clearer I can see, I know where I wanna go. I am living in the flow. Now that I've dropped
maruming hangin naglalayag, ang dilim parang walang hanggan. Kapit ka kay aking minamahal, taos-puso kami nagdarasal.
pamilya, kaya digitid dumapay nga love ko ti life ko.
Para sa mga pasyente ko.
Para sa future. Ano ba?
The night is still young. I am joined now by my colleagues in the Spirit Conference, Mr. JP Rodrigo, Chelsea Angeles, and Kay Domingo, who have been hosting an Oracle Fest as a side event in the Spirit Conference. Hi, JP, Chelsea, and Kay. Hello.
Hey
Hi,
Nicole, hey Chelsea, good night,
hi, good
Kay.
Hi.
evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Okay, JP, Chelsea, and Kay will moderate one of the highlights of this event, a panel discussion on LGBT and sexuality. Tell me, Kay, JP, and Chelsea, what is this discussion about? It seems a very unique topic that is rarely open to this kind of public gathering. JP?
Yes, I do agree, Nicole. It's not really a very much talked about topic in spirituality, but I think, and we also think that it's quite relevant and quite important, especially how um, sexual and gender preference really play a role in your sexuality and your expression of gender and vice versa. What do you think, Chelsea and Kay?
Chelsea, would you want to go first?
Chelsea,
You're
I
on
think
mute.
you're muted. You're on mute.
Mute. You're on mute. Go on mute. There's some. Okay, let me go first. So, for me, this session would
Yes.
talk more about how to love yourself and accept yourself more and more, even beyond definitions of what society dictates us. And we, as
Yep.
supporters of the same advocacy, will be able to resonate with others the how much we appreciate the what do you call this diversity of our awareness of our bodies and minds and hearts and spirituality. And you could see at my back I have a boy band which advocates to erase toxic masculinity and love yourself, love yourself, speak yourself. Thank you.
I
Yeah,
agree, Kay.
right. And at this time we're in, everything has been unveiled. A lot of things has been unveiled from the shadow, and one of which is it's been much talk about in every kind of platform, like from what's your pronoun and inclusivity, and this is not really talked about in 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 connection to the spirituality also. So I think this is time. It is time for us to know how we can, like, how we are connected to the bigger picture of it. So I think that is the point why we are here right now, and we're going to talk about um, sexual preference and LGBT tonight. So okay, yeah, right. So now I give you the floor. Take it away, JPK and Chelsea. So, yeah, first of all, we're going to introduce our panelists. And the first one that we're going to introduce is Reverend Reg. Our first panelist is an ordained minister of the International Metaphysical Ministry and is passionate in piloting many initiatives like Global Coherence, Harvest Online Convention, and many others. An author, anchor, and life coach. So let's all welcome Reverend Reg Tan.
All right. Mabuhay, everyone. Let me just check. Uh, okay. It's different. Mabuhay, everyone.
Yes.
I am
There.
Reverend Edge, and we were on Zoom earlier, and it was working fine. So I realized it's different when it's in a different app.
Yeah,
So
Same,
part of
same
the
thing
new normal.
happened.
all right. So anyway, it's lovely to have you, Kay, JP, and Chelsea. Thank you for the introduction. And I just want to correct something. I initiated the local version of the Global Coherence Initiative, which is called the Philippine Coherence Initiative. And it's something that I want to invite everyone in case you have your mobile phone. If we're doing the meditation now, are we doing it already or we're postponing it for later?
We're gonna
Me, yeah,
postpone it
maybe after
after
we introduce
include
every
everything.
panelist, then we can,
All right.
start the meditation. So, we
All right.
start on that note. Okay. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Reverend Ledge. Okay. So our next panelist is a plant medicine facilitator apprentice. So for years, they have stayed away from their family because of the fear of being not accepted and approved of. But upon finding their place and direction, their spiritual path, they were able to make peace and come out to their family and balance their feminine and masculine aspects. So you will be seeing their work tomorrow at the cacao ceremony, which will happen at 3 p.m. So we're inviting you guys to also join us. That'll be our opening salvo for tomorrow's event. So friends, let's all welcome Apolawi.
So hello everyone, good evening. Thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you, Apo, Lawin.
Thank you, Ami.
Okay, so the next panelist is from Finland. She is an artist and a spiritual practitioner and has journeyed through transition from female to male. And after years of living as a man through her encounter with plant medicines, she is now detransitioning and reclaiming her body and female identity. She hopes to create more space for spiritual work and people outside the binaries. Friends, let us welcome Mira Sandstorm.
Hello,
Hi, Mira.
very nice
Mira.
to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
What
Thank you
time is
so
it
And
there
much.
now, Mira? If we don't, because it's already
it's
like 10 past 10 in the evening here in Manila. So what time is it there right now in Finland?
it's not bad here. It's 5:15, so
Oh, cool.
early evening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And the next panelist is a Zen Meditation Facilitator from Mindanao. His ancestral lineage is interestingly connected to a line of Babaylans, or the Filipino indigenous shamans. He is very much involved with Carl Circle Center, sorry. Let's all welcome Jay Batoon.
Hello, everyone. Good evening to our viewers and to our guests here. Thank you. I'm so honored being here with you and one of the panelists in this evening's discussion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jay. And our last but not the least of our panelists is the author of the book Social Studies in Perspective High School Edition and a highly celebrated and multi awarded educator, consultant, and researcher here and abroad. She is a greatly creative and rationally vibrant person whose heart beats for all the undertakings of humankind in the name of fulfillment of human potentials. A proud IMist or New Thought practitioner for 18 years. Let's give a round of applause to DrRoe Guzman, who's a YouTuber and a certified law of attraction life coach. Good evening, Dr. Rowe.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Yes, let's rise as one. Thank you for inviting me for this event. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Dr. Rowe. So these are they are our panelists for tonight. We're gonna talk about many things. There's a lot of discussions and elements that's going to come up, and so we're gonna go ahead and start with why they are here and to hear their stories also. So let's
Yeah, but
start
before
with
that, Chelsea,
oh
we will
yeah,
start for with a meditation first from Reverend
right.
Reg.
Right, let's invite Reverend Reg to
Take the lead.
start our session with a meditation.
You're on mute, Rev.
All right, mabuhay everyone. I invite everyone to make sure you have water beside you and that you can actually sit down and be comfortable. And if you have your mobile phone, I encourage everyone to go to the Global Coherence app. This is the app, and it's an app to measure how we are doing collectively in terms of how cool, calm, and collected we all are. So you can go to the Philippine Coherence Initiative, and then if you're joining this for the first time, the password is Orange Earth 76, and this is how it's going to appear. All right. So the reason why I'm doing this, I know a lot of people are very curious about meditation, and in the past, it was very challenging for spiritual teachers or meditation teachers to explain what meditation is and what good benefits it has for everyone. But with the help of the Global Coherence app, we're able to actually give people who are curious about it an actual explanation as to how it affects our physical bodies and at the same time how it makes our environment more coherent and how we can make the energetic interaction we have with each other more gentle and compassionate. All right. So I encourage everyone to settle down. Okay. And gently close your eyes, relax your shoulders, put both palms facing down on top of your knees. Relax every inch of you. And this time, release any tension in the body. You can do it by taking conscious breaths, inhaling love, exhaling all the tension. Whatever it is that is running in your head right now, make sure to put them aside because you will be more efficient and effective at handling them later. This time, I encourage you to rub both palms vigorously and use your right palm to touch the heart. Connect to that inner smile from your heart. And slow your breath just a little bit slower than usual. And this time, let's consciously feel love and appreciation for this panel discussion, rising as one in love, in appreciation, and in the spirit of joy. And join me in affirming I am a mighty power of divine love, mighty to attract my good and radiate good to others. I am a mighty power of divine love, mighty to attract my good and radiate good to others. I am a mighty power of divine love, mighty to attract my good and radiate good to others. Gently bring your awareness back to this time and space. And when you are ready, you may open your eyes. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. One more. Take a deep breath in and out. Awesome. So, mabuhay again, everyone. Live and go beyond existing. Today, our intention is to rise as one, and I feel very blessed to be part of this panel discussion and talk about things that are very near and dear to our hearts in the LGBTQIA plus community. So, thank you, Chelsea, May, JP, and everyone for having me tonight.
Thank you.
Satnam.
And we are equally thankful, Reverend Reg, for leading this meditation. Um, it's going to be a very heartfelt discussion for tonight, don't you think, Chelsea?
Yes, very. And I anticipate a lot of insights that's going to happen with the discussion that we're going to talk about. So, first, we're going to hear the stories of our panelists as to why we are here and why we are here now. So, the first one that we're going to hear her story is Mira, who has transitioned from female to male and detransition. And we would like to hear more about your transitioning experience, Mira.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be here and to get to share my story. It's been a long journey so far, and it keeps ever unfolding. But yes, that's right. As a young teenager, I decided to start a journey of transitioning from female to male. I was struggling with mental health and generally understanding myself and what was going on. And when I found out about trans people, I saw a path to lead me forward, a path that could find to where I could find more joy and ease with my body and in my being. I lived as a man for about 9 years in total. I have been on hormonal treatment and had a couple of surgeries to correct my gender. At the age of 24, I decided to detransition. And in that gap, I found myself discovering spirituality and my spiritual path. And that's where I found my way to plant medicines, which open up a whole new dimension of getting to know myself and finding who I really am, and to understand what was going on inside me. Also, so that soon again brought up the question of where I was and why I was there. Why did I find a need to modify my body and change my gender in this society? And it wasn't an it wasn't an obvious choice to detransition, but the more I got to know myself and my body and what felt good to me, the more I realized that there were still places in me that I wasn't at ease with, things I hadn't encountered and really delved into. I felt that while I was still considering to transition, the transition helped me to get out of this very narrow understanding of who I was, and from dealing with the societal understandings of gender and being a woman. And I found, consciously or unconsciously, a way out of that pressure for a while. And I got to find ways to express part of myself that didn't come naturally as I was expressing as female. So I felt more confident to express myself and to sing, to use my voice, to speak in front of people, to yeah. I found that for the first time I got to kind of relax in myself. But later in my journey, I also realized that I have moved myself from one box to another to discover new parts of myself, but at the same time there are parts that I put away to fit into the societal box of being a man. So I started questioning that, and once again dressing in feminine clothing, wearing skirts and dresses. I didn't immediately take on the identity of a woman again, but through that exploration of my personal expression, I found more and more of what it meant to me to be a woman, and that I understood that as a being, I had all these sides of me, feminine, masculine, and I could find ways of expressing all of that within me. And my identity as a woman came more to my body, the body I was born into, and to understand that I would have liked to really get in touch with this body, see that it has its purpose and its place and its beauty, and to grieve the parts that I lost on the way. So I feel like my spiritual journey expressed in a very physical way of exploring feminine and masculine. And while it's been a rich and a journey that has taught me so much, I also wish, when I think back, I wish that I had had some way of dealing with what was going inside me, some ways to explore myself and my body and my soul. And that's why I hope that I could be part of creating more spaces for queer people to explore themselves spiritually and as to find more dimensions of who they are and ways to feel safe and free to express that in the world. Because going through such a journey, it's challenging, it's painful, and it has taught me a lot of self-acceptance to accept the things I have gone through, to accept the choices I have made, and to accept my body as it is now, and to find what purpose that journey can bring into the world as of now. And this year, more and more, I found opportunities to share my journey. I got to take part in a documentary, which was a wonderful opportunity, and now to be invited into this conference is a huge honor, and I hope that all our stories reach out to somebody out there. So thank you.
Thank you also, Mira, for sharing your heartfelt and very wonderful journey. That was quite a journey, and it's very interesting that you mentioned plant medicines and how they also help you with your spiritual journey and getting in touch also with your sexuality also in a way and discovering also your sexuality. I'd also like to raise this question to Apolawin, since you've also you're facilitating, plant medicine retreats. So how did the plant medicine made you more connected with your spirituality, and how would you also describe also your coming out journey and how it affected your relationship with your family?
So let me start by sharing my story. So I found out that I was different in terms of my sexuality when I was very young. So back at school, I'd hear about my girl classmates having crushes with the more attractive boys in my class. But then I wasn't feeling this way, so I felt that I was the weird person. So even when I was sitting beside the cutest boy in my class, I wouldn't have a crush on him, or I wouldn't bat an eye on him. And everyone was asking me if I had a crush, and for years I couldn't give an answer because I didn't have any boy crushes. And then I would just copy answers from all my female classmates so that I won't be seen as weird. And then I remember one time my seatmate had a crush on Harry Potter, and so I just copied their answer, and then I told everyone that I had a crush on Harry Potter as well because it was the trendy thing at the time. But then I had a female friend who I want to spend time with all the time, and I'd be so happy when I see her. And And I noticed that all the people I loved spending time with were all girls. So that's when I had the idea that I was different. And then fast forward to high school, I forced myself to have a crush on a guy so that I could fit in, but it just didn't feel right and it didn't feel good to me. So that's when I realized that I was gay. But then when I came out as gay, people kept asking me if I was butch or femme or if I wanted to be a man. So that got me thinking. I didn't feel like wanting to become a man, or I don't feel like a woman either. So I didn't feel like conforming to those labels. So I don't want to be male. I don't want to be female. I just wanted me. So that's when I knew I was different. And in terms of coming out to my parents, it was when I was a kid. I kept it to myself. I didn't really tell my parents, my family. I didn't tell my brother. Only a number of cousins knew that I was gay. So having discovered my sexuality at such a young age, I was made aware of how sometimes some people will be thrown out of their homes just because of who they are, and their families didn't accept who they are. So I got scared at that time, so I just kept it to myself until I was financially stable, because I was scared that I would get disowned, that I would get thrown out of my house, that I wouldn't have a place to live in. And then that's when I just avoided contact with them for so many years, because just the fear of being disowned and the fear of just being judged and criticized and ostracized by the whole family and even the extended family, because our whole extended family are hardcore Catholics. So yeah, I was scared at that time. But then when I came out, when I started with the plant medicine, with my path with plant medicine, I was just so thankful for the teacher plants, because for all their lessons, for teaching me how to live a life of love, of joy, of peace and authenticity. I just can't thank them enough for it. And as a facilitator, whenever we take on a journey guided by the teacher plans, we are urged to confront our issues, to process them, no matter how much time it takes, and eventually we'll be able to heal them. So I remember being so uncomfortable expressing my feminine energy. The spirit of Mother Cacao coming through me the first time I helped out in the cacao ceremony, because I wasn't really comfortable expressing my feminine energy. But then, as time went by, the more I get exposed to the plant medicine, to the spirit of Mother Cacao and also Mother Ayahuasca, I realized that it's not really, it wasn't that bad to express my feminine energy. In fact, it's liberating, because eventually I just didn't feel the need to conform to the male and female stereotypes, to the masculine and feminine energy. So, sometimes in ceremonies, I can come off as male or masculine, and then in other times, I come off as feminine. So, tomorrow I might be masculine, I might be feminine, who knows? So, it just feels liberating not to be boxed in those labels. And after that, with also the help of plant medicine with Mother Ayahuasca, I also they gave me the strength to come out to my family, and then when I came out, they surprisingly they were okay with it, and they respect whatever my gender preference is, and whatever I do in my life. That feels so liberating. So yeah, that's my story and how plant medicine helped me with my path.
Okay, uh, I just have a follow up for someone who's quite innocent on these things. Can you describe to us or define what plant medicines are and how it helps you with your journey on the masculine and feminine energies? Because not all of us are familiar with this, and this is your chance to really describe what it is, make it more grounded, and just basic like a Wikipedia description like that. Thank you.
Also, okay, so these are plants that come through that we when we when we take their energy on when we ingest them through safe means, they their spirit comes through and they teach us lessons when we connect with their energy. So that's the most basic Wikipedia description that I can give. But the experience is so much more deeper than that.
Yes, yes. That's this.
Maybe Mira can
True.
also
Yeah, maybe we
share a
can
thing
also.
or two about what plant medicine is and her experience so far.
Yes, please, sure. Um, so I have worked with multiple plant medicines, ayahuasca, mushrooms, and San Pedro or Huachuma, and these are all different plant medicines that expand our consciousness and help us to heal and to confront whatever patterns or traumas are within our bodies to help grow and develop our consciousness and ourselves as people. For me, the plant medicines have been a very challenging journey. Um, I haven't worked with them in the past couple years, but what they really helped me with what was first they really threw me into the spirit realm see the world with new eyes and childish excitement of seeing truly how magical and magnificent everything is and how everything is connected and how powerful we are as beings. But it also forced me to face my shadows and threw me into a shadow journey where some of my traumas were so hard to confront that my mind uh, my mind um, tried to escape the facing of the experience and how to actually transform and heal. So the latter part really uh, brought me down to earth and to ground into my life and to see what's around me. I had a tendency of um, being very much in um, in the mind and in visions, but finding this difficulty in actualizing those visions and manifesting in the physical world and to really drop down into all of my body and to face all that was in there. So that's a brief descriptions of my understanding of plant medicines and the journey I have been on. I hope to re-encounter them one day, but for now I've been in such a grounded uh, in a time where I've really had to ground into my daily life, my relationships, my, yeah, what I'm doing here and how I can slowly uh, find more balance in my life.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that, Apulawin and Mira, for giving us clarity on how it helped you and how it works. Okay, so uh,
Oh, before that, Kay, let us invite everyone to participate in asking and asking questions to our panelists once we show off or we show off the amazing stories that they are telling us tonight. So um, just comment on the comment section of the Facebook VIP and premium group. Or if you are in YouTube, go ahead and post your questions for our panelists. So
Yep.
there.
You just have to allow StreamYard to post your name on Facebook. So if for some reason there are you encounter technical glitches with allowing StreamYard to do so, you just have to put your name in parentheses before your question so that we can able to identify who you are, because otherwise you going to appear here as Facebook user and then your comment. So if for some reason you're having difficulty doing so with StreamYard, you just enclose your name in parentheses and then your question. Let me read some of the comments here. Angel Crystals is saying, "Good evening, Apolawin." I think you know him or her. RevReg and DrRoe Guzman, cheers from Facebook user,
Hi,
wherever
Rev.
you are. Yeah. And Jay, we also have a fan here. Good to see you. But it's Facebook user as well. And Maria Luisa de la Rea is um, greeting. Good evening. And
okay.
Angel Crystals has a question for you, Reverend Reg. Kindly say again the password, Reverend. Maybe I guess this is in relation to the app that you've introduced earlier.
Maybe we can flash the password on the screen later on.
Yeah, and or someone also is saying cheers to Rem Tanawan, and Mishti
Yeah.
Aparahita Bowal is greeting hi, and Menchi Diaz Tabihe is also greeting good evening. So
It looks like we
it's
have fan base.
yeah, for our panelists. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We have an amazing panelists tonight. So, very interesting people from diverse backgrounds. So, take advantage of these guys. If you have any questions, we have also a fan here. Hello, JP, Chelsea, and K tuning in. Facebook user. I
Hi,
don't know who's
Facebook
Facebook
user
users.
Hi,
Hi,
Facebook
hello.
user.
at
Hello,
10:49.
Facebook. Yes.
Okay, so thank you for that. Thank you for the audience for interacting with us, and for Mira and for Apulawin. And then now we will proceed with our next panelist, um, Jay. It's your turn now. Can you describe to us your journey, and um, you know what to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Hi, and hello to our viewers now monitoring our live streaming. Yeah, so as far as my memory can serve me, and I never felt discriminated against or untreated fairly because of my self expression in my own family. Maybe because I'm the first grandchild in my mother's family. And naturally, as the first grandchild, I experience their endearments. I receive all their affections, their love. They were so fascinated with me, maybe when I was a baby, and everybody was there just to cheer me up, to show their love and affection for me. And so I grew up mostly surrounded by females in my family, especially in my mother's side. Now, my mother's side, I'm fortunate enough to have known my great grandmother, who was a babaylan. So I come from that line. My great grandmother, which is the grandmother of my mother, was a babaylan. She was a shaman, a medicine woman, a weaver. She weaves beautifully with those intricate designs of, we call it banig, uh, mats in our province. And so, with that mindset, I grew up um, with a very accepting environment. And I've also um, learned through my readings now, that I'm an adult, that there are a lot of articles that you can find in the internet mentioning the relationship between the Babaylan and the LGBT culture. And it says that during the coming of the Spaniards in the Philippines, the Spanish conquerors, there are already, uh, the presence is already there, the presence of LGBT individuals in our Filipino culture. And having an LGBT child in the family, in the pre-Hispanic Filipino family, is kinda some kind of an honor in the family, because that baby, that child inhabits or expresses the dual energetic principles of feminine and masculine, which is a very essential feature or ingredient or aspect of the life of a babaylan. And he or she is elevated actually into that status. So, being the eldest son in the family, I was eldest son or an eldest grandchild in my mother's side of the family. I was exposed to that Babaylan culture. I grew up with my great grandmother and my Lola, and I saw her, I witnessed those things. And in fact, during my childhood days, I think I can only count in my fingers the times where I was brought to a doctor, the conventional doctor. Most of the time, we rely on my grandmother's medicine. So she concocted plants, herbs, different kinds, for to be used as treatments for common illnesses like cough, colds, fever, etc. And I was the recipient of that intervention. And I grew up having that kind of orientation. In fact, in the family, practicing those things is just very ordinary. It's not something special. It's part of our ordinary everyday life. Yeah. And also being a child, I was also exposed with rituals in the family. I saw my great grandmother preside over some rituals in the village. And so it's maybe as a child I was not that, I don't give more importance to that because I did not understand what it was. I only appreciate it now as an adult, looking back with that experience and with that history. In fact, I came to acknowledge that heritage when I joined the Carl Jung Circle Center, because it was the Carl Jung. I attended one workshop in the Carl Jung, and I realized that, in that workshop it mentioned something about the Babaylan, and I realized, oh, this is close to my heart. They are actually describing my my own cultural background, and so I realized that, my great grandmother, she was that, and it's only then that I came to value my own family heritage. And during my teenage years, having this gay orientation, I never ever experienced my family, my parents treated me unfairly. Although sometimes, when you play with other children in the neighborhood, you can hear all those teasings, but it's just teasings. And my mother is always there to comfort me, and also my father was there to comfort me as well, and my siblings were there. And I grew up in that having that culture, and so it's okay, it's okay with me. And It's just maybe I'm just fortunate enough to grow in that kind of loving surrounding and loving and nurturing family. Yeah,
Okay. Is that it, Jay? Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing, and thank you for affirming that it's not always
Yeah.
the story is not always the same, that there's
Mm-mm.
rejection among the family. I grew up in a family where homosexuality or LGBTQI or is normalized.
Mm.
So when I told him that I have a boyfriend, my dad was quite shocked. True story. I thought you're a tomboy. That no, I'm not. I'm straight. So that's
Was that your
so
coming out, Kay?
that's my coming out story. My dad thought, but I'm not.
You're coming out
I'm
straight.
straighter than a line. So, but I am very supportive of the community. JP knows that, and Ami knows that.
Oh yeah, I
Uh,
can attest to that. Kay is one of my allies, I would really say.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also Jay also grew up with not here in the no in Luzon we call it albularyo. I
Mm.
grew up with that albularyo grandfather. So so there. Uh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the Negros
So as
Island,
a follow up on that, Jay, yeah, on
Yes,
a
JP.
follow up on the LGBT and the Babaylan culture. So would you say that the pre-Hispanic Filipinos are more accepting, and I guess the LGBT is somehow normalized in our culture before until the Spaniards came, and
Yes, yes,
maybe
yes.
homophobia has become
Mm-mm.
more apparent and
yeah.
pronounced
Mm-mm.
during the Spanish regime.
Yeah, because the foreign religion destroyed all the indigenous cultures.
Yep.
They did a lot of damage, actually. They did a lot of damage in our indigenous cultures.
Mhm.
And maybe it's about time to regain and going back and
Yes.
recover our
Yes.
roots.
It's not going anywhere. It's just here.
Mhm, mhm.
Oh, yeah. And I think regarding in connection to that, there are excavations actually that are, especially in Mindanao, the part of where the Balanghay was, discovered in Butuan, around the Guzman River. I mean, the excavation, the archaeological digs continue and go on in that area in Mindanao, and it's a rediscovery of our rich heritage and our rich culture, which is actually quite existent, even before the Spaniards came. It's very interesting that you mentioned those the rediscovery of our, I would say, of our earlier roots.
Mhm. Yeah. And
Okay, Jake.
speaking of coming out, just a little, I would like
All
to
right.
add something and follow your discussion about coming out. Issues of coming out myself, no, in the family, but it was never an issue. I never formally um, express myself, as I am, my orientation. It was an open secret in the family. Nobody dared to ask, but it was acknowledged openly, even with my cousins. It's acknowledged. Nobody dared to say, "Ah, Jay, why are you like that?" Nobody in the family. Yeah, I feel so at home and so at home with myself whenever I'm with them.
All right. Thank you. So, JP,
Thank you.
can we move on?
Oh yeah. Um,
yeah.
Let me ask.
Right. Go
Go
ahead,
on,
Jay. I'm
Chelsea.
sorry. Okay.
Okay.
So our next panel, who's going to talk about her journey, or yeah, on on this, her journey. So let's call on Reverend Reg, and she's going to talk about how her personal discovery in her own sexual identity play a role in her spirituality. And yeah, Reverend Reg, we are so interested in hearing about you.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Chelsea. And my pronoun is actually he, him.
He, ay, sorry.
Yeah, that's
Sorry
okay.
po, sorry po. Yeah.
Uh, it's okay. And actually, this is a perfect opportunity to ask people because every now and then we will find ourselves clarifying the pronouns that we prefer. And I just want to share with the rest of the group biologically, I appreciate that I have a female body, but the psychology of my mind is very yang driven. That's why, in terms of the name I prefer to be called and my pronoun, I prefer the more masculine pronoun and name because one of my spiritual studies was saying in order for you to fully bring out your full potential, you need to hear the name that you feel brings out the best in you so that you're not creating an energy that will, for example, this is your intention and this is your demonstration. You would like your intention and demonstration to be at par with each other. But I'm totally fine with having a very masculine psychology and a feminine body. But I would like to bring out the full potential of my body in terms of being healthy. I respect people's choices if they want to transition, but personally for me, one of my advocacies is to donate blood for as long as I possibly can. That's why I would like to maintain my body because I know that if something is altered, it's not easy for you to do something like blood donations regularly. So, in terms of my spirituality, number one, I want to share with everyone. I didn't always know that it was also spiritual to be gay. It was spiritual to be a lesbian. It was spiritual to to be transgender or whatever expression you have in terms of sexuality. Because in the past, I came from a fundamentalist religion that believed that spirituality, holiness, sacredness was only reserved to being male, female, or being straight, cisgender, straight individual. So I was a baby. I was about 3 years old. So I think toddler already. And I knew that my inclination was different because I remember having a crush on someone who was carrying me. So I felt when I started studying metaphysical classes that probably my inclination had something to do with my past life. And I'm very blessed in such a way that I got into Kundalini Yoga and many other metaphysical modalities and also Aikido because it was explained to us the concept of the yin and the yang, the presence of the female and the masculine energy that's innate to everyone. That's why I'm totally comfortable with being boyish in terms of how I want to be called, but at the same time, fully accepting my biological state right now. And I'm totally okay with it because we know in the Philippines, when someone is very vain and very hygienic and very feminine like, we consider that person balidosa or vain. And if someone's very
I'm at the
vain, we call
receiving end
them
of it.
we call
I'm at the
them
receiving end
metrosexual.
of it. Yeah.
So
Isang
one
metro
time,
na lang gay na sila, sexual nyo na, homosexual na yung sabi
Isang
nila.
metro na lang.
Isang metro na lang
so
homosexual na, sabi
Di
nila.
ba pwedeng pogi lang?
yeah, so for me, I'm totally okay with being called lesbian, but I prefer my pronoun he, him, and by psychology being manly. But in terms of hygiene and uh, expression in terms of how I dress up, I think I'm very masculine in that way. but I'm also feminine in other ways. So I remember I was with friends in ABS-CBN and we were having lunch in Tomas Morato. So we all went out and it was lunchtime. I remember carrying an umbrella. So one of my friends was saying, ano ka ba talaga, Reg? Are you male or female? Kasi nakakaloka kayo carrying an umbrella. So because of that, we had a good laugh about it. So I was telling them, I'm very masculine in that way, but I just don't like the feeling na ang bango-bango ko umalis ng bahay and then all of a sudden pawis na pawis ako because ang init. So I think this is the beauty of having a variety of self-expression in one being. So uh, that's it for me in terms of the enigma of my personality and my expression. But in terms of fully accepting my being and really identifying with the biblical term, I am made in the image and likeness of God. I have my new thought teacher, Dr. George Sheason, and the founder of University of Metaphysics, Dr. Paul Ian Masters, to thank for in terms of understanding what it means to build a personal relationship with the God within, because I came from a fundamentalist religion and the narrative that played in my head for such a long period of time is that I am a sinner, and because I'm a sinner I deserve to be punished, and it caused a lot of lack and limitation in my career, in my relationships. And that's why when I found out that God is within me and that I'm not being punished for anything, the reason why I'm attracting limited situations and lack situations in my life is because of the guilt and shame I unconsciously kept within, because I thought it was normal to feel guilt and shame. And it was only when I understood metaphysics, the philosophy of understanding how we experience things, that it has a starting point. And the starting point is what's happening in the inner world and what's running in my head, in my heart, that's causing me to act a certain way. And all of that put together will cause an attraction in my life. Whether it's something pleasant or unpleasant, I have to be mindful of it. And I have to do that inner connection to my heart to find out what's true for me and to live from the truth of my being, regardless of what others are thinking, saying, or doing. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank
I
you.
have a question with
Mhm.
Reverend Reg. Like, coming from a fundamental family, di ba? Pagka nagpa-family reunion or may party or pupunta ng simbahan, were you forced to wear like girly clothes when you were a
Yeah.
kid?
Honestly, it was a traumatic experience for me because I always felt when I was growing up that it wasn't the expression that I wanted. In fact, in my first college degree, before I took up metaphysics professionally and I got ordained as a metaphysical minister, and they wanted me to wear a dress during my college graduation. In my former college, I did not attend the graduation because I did not want to wear the dress they were asking me to. So I don't know why I feel that way, but there's a trigger for me
Yeah,
there.
I could give
Thank you for that, Chelsea.
an input in a study that we did in my work that um, out the number of school dropouts has something to do with the lack of CR. That the CR in schools is just male and female, so there should be a third one or a fourth one. So that validates your feelings of not of limiting the choices of the students in school. So that's why there's a lot 11% in a certain area in the Philippines, in one region in the Visayas. 11% school dropouts. It's because some gay students cannot use the restroom. So we have a sociologist in our panel. So probably she could talk more about that. This is not just a spiritual issue. What is above is so below. So whatever happens in our discussion with this, it reflects our daily lives. It reflects our
Correct.
social issues. Okay. So, yeah. What's next on the program? Oh, mag-stretch tayo ng konti. Ang saya-saya, diba? Gay. Diba? Gay.
Yes.
Should be
Happy and
really
gay.
gay.
Happy and
Yes.
Happy and
gay.
gay.
Yes.
Oh, there's a comment here from Menchi Diaz Tabiha. I'm a big supporter of the LGBT community too. So she's an ally, I would really say. So
Thank you,
Yay!
keep being an
Menchi.
Hello
ally,
there,
Menchi.
ally.
Mm.
Yeah.
Merong nag-greet pero hindi ko kilala eh. Facebook user lang. So, whoever you are,
Yeah.
thank you for your
Whoever
greeting.
you are, try to put your name in parenthesis if if for some reason StreamYard can't allow you to use your Facebook name or can't allow to be seen. This technical glitches happen. Part of new normal. Just like earlier, we were supposed to have a meditation in the backstage, and then we were staring at each other, and then we didn't realize that we were like waiting for the
Ayan!
cue. So I
Kasi
mean,
may pantay. Anong
this
ginagawa
technical
natin?
thing happened. Yeah.
Oo, nakapag-makeup tuloy ako.
Oo
Mira,
nga
should
yan.
I wear
Kasi
my makeup?
nag-lipstick na si Kay. Kasi hindi pwedeng mag-isa lang ako mag-lipstick, diba? So, yan.
Okay, so maybe we can go to Dr. Rowe, and maybe she can give her input, especially on a
Mm.
sociological perspective and
Correct, correct, correct.
sociological view. Yep.
Yeah, so good evening everyone once again, no. I've been listening to the journeys of Jay. I took note of the journey of Mira and of who's this? Amy. All right. So, as a point of view of a sociologist, the perspective of a sociologist, of course, what is our role? We usually examine the social influences, including organizations, institutions, on different individuals and groups. So, of course, LGBTQ is one. So, again, um, when I check, no, when I see the influence of the group, with Amy, he mentioned about that he was scared that he will get this on by the family members, right? But to Jay, no, the influence of the family member to Jay, he grew up, no, that nobody questioned his preference, and he received all the affections and the love from the family members. And to Reg, of course, being born with a fundamentalist religion background, of course, he received this programming that he is a sinner. See the influence of the society to us, all right? The programming. All right. So the Philippines can be considered as one of the most LGBTQ friendly countries in Southeast Asia, as compared, of course, to Indonesia. So in recent years, Filipinos have become more open-minded and tolerant of sexual minorities in our country. But nevertheless, of course, LGBTQ Filipinos still struggle with the stigma, the prejudice, the discrimination, right? All right, that associated with their sexual, of course, preferences. All right, so now, what would be the reaction of a typical Filipino family coming out? Of course, the process of sexual orientation disclosure in families may be shaped by the values of the family system, which is taken from social norms. All right. So what when we are talking of norms, these are standards of behavior, the acceptable standards of behavior in our society. So there is parental rejection. I consider that in the Philippines there's still parental rejection, especially from the father's side of the family, from the father himself, right? It is not easily accepted by the family. So why there is rejection? First and foremost, our Philippine society has strong emphasis on what? Traditional values. All right. Our panelists mentioned about, all right, one is religion. All right. They're scared that they will be they are disowned by their family members. All right. The importance of religion is one. The emphasis on marriage, that only the male female should get married, right? And the emphasis on what? Having children. All right. So religion plays now a major role in the lives of Filipinos with a strong influence, of course, of the Roman Catholic Church. That there are only two sexes here, right? The male and the female. And there's no sex in between. All right. So we're talking about the sex, the male and female. Because in research we do not say the gender. Because gender is what we call the masculinity or the femininity. All right. So second, this explained by the patriarchy system that characterizes the Philippine society. Now, fathers are often viewed as the head of the household, and therefore they hold the greater parental authority. All right. So, as such, parental attitudes and opinions may have a greater influence and impact on children's thoughts and beliefs. Right. That's why it's hard for them to come out. At an early stage in their life. So, numerous studies support also the idea that the father's rejection can be more influential than that of the mother's. Really, because I have a family member who just came out, who came out, right, many years ago, and then he left the household for 2 years. We did not see him for 2 years. All right. So to explain such findings, um, it was suggested that children may perceive fathers as having more power, influence, and prestige than mothers. So thus, they may be more likely to emulate paternal values and opinions. So that is crucial, the values that we impose. And because of this rejection coming from the family, from the father, from the parents, right? The weight of paternal opinions and beliefs may have contributed to our very own LGBTQ's decision in disclosing their sexual orientation. So I would like to quote the study conducted by a tertiary students in a university here in the Philippines. Okay. So since among those participants who indicated being out only to 1%, 27% were out only to their mothers, and 3% were out only to their fathers. See, they cannot speak their mind to the fathers to share their sexual orientation preference in that matter. So as far as these participants are concerned, they may have chosen to come out only to their mothers as maternal opinions. So they may have a milder impact on their own value system. And they may have perceived their mothers to be more understanding and accepting. There is also why is that so? Because it is part of the DNA of a mother, right? We have this so-called we are more loving because we carry, the mother carries birth, right? Carries the baby for 9 months. And part of that, the DNA of a mother is loving, more caring, and more empathetic. All right. So that's why, according to this study, they have perceived that their mothers to be more understanding and accepting. So past studies have shown evidence that sexual minority children are more likely to come out to their mothers. Correct. Because it happened. I experienced that in the family, in our family. My nephew come out with my sister. All right. And that mothers are often less rejecting than fathers. All right. Because of the patriarchy, system. All right. So I guess the crucial role of the parents here, why it is important to have a family support. Parents want their children to be happy only, healthy and safe. All right. So Now, if your child comes out, so I'm calling the attention of the parents here. So if your child comes out to you as LGBTQ, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or queer, that may or may not be something you imagine them or feel prepared for, but your acceptance really matters to their health and safety. All right. And the significant role, of course, of parents in the lives of their children undoubtedly influences the development of their children's self image. How LGBTQ people think and feel about themselves is directly related to how they think they are perceived by their parents. Look at that, right? Like what Amy shared, and of course, Jay, no? He received um, all affections and love when he grew up, and nobody questioned his preference. All right, so this is crucial now. Acceptance and support from parents have been found to be critical in the development of an individual's own internal sense of support. So, being valued by their parents and family helps our LGBTQ children to value and care for themselves. All right. So that is the point of view of a sociologist. Of course, um, let us neglect the fact that we have to give our love to give that love first to ourselves before we expect to receive the love from outside of us, because it's all about inner work. It's all really all about inner work. Now, I'd like to share with you, since we're not only talking about why, of course, we cannot separate no LGBTQ from spirituality. All right, my spiritual views on LGBTQ taken from, of course, the Louis Hay opinions about the LGBTQ. And I'd like to quote her statement. I believe that each lifetime before we are born, and so I'm calling all the parents and all those LGBTQ who feel that they are not safe to share, to come out and express themselves authentically. I believe that each lifetime before we are born, we choose our country, our color, our sexuality, and the perfect set of parents to match the patterns we have chosen to work on in this lifetime. And each lifetime, I seem to choose a different sexuality. Sometimes I am a man, sometimes I am a woman. Sometimes I am heterosexual, sometimes I am homosexual. And each form of sexuality has its own areas of fulfillment and challenges. My soul has no sexuality. It is only my personality that has sexuality. I love and cherish every part of my body. I am at peace with my personality. No matter what your sexual orientation is, it is perfect for you. When we are referring to relationships, it applies to all of us. No matter if your relationship is heterosexual or homosexual, even science is now recognizing that sexual orientation is something that we are born with and not something that we choose. Right? Something that we are born with and not something that we choose. So the point is that love is where we find it. Fashions in love change from country to country and century to century. We have certain so called norms at the moment, but they too will change in time. So let us drop the judgment and rejoice in love when we see it. This is a time for healing, for making whole, not for condemnation. We must rise out of the limitations of the past. We are all divine, magnificent expressions of life. Thank you. And yes, we are rise as one.
Wow, that's a nice
Wow.
way to encapsulate your
Very
sharing, Dr. Ro.
solid.
Yep. If I may, as a follow-up question, Dr. Ro,
Mm,
because you put an emphasis on the parents as um, to be very
mm.
much accepting of their children, whatever their sexual orientation is. But how do you? um, advise parents to show their acceptance? What is it? Especially if, coming from a very heterosexual,
Yeah, correct.
background and very
Background.
traditional background. So how do they now
Correct, correct.
show their acceptance? What are the maybe the concrete examples that you can
Based
give?
on the experience of the family, no. Yeah, when of course my nephew come out 15 years ago, and then my auntie who came all the way from London, and then she was checking every one of us. Where is this? Where is this? Where is this? And then of course she found out that my nephew um, was taken by a group of friends. Yeah, one of his friends was of course Vice Ganda now. And then this was the turning point of the family members to accept him. Excuse me, it's already 2021, 21st century. By all means, you have to accept it. And if you do not give that love, and if you do not accept and give the love to your child, who will accept, right? That's the crucial point now. And then after some time, my brother-in-law now started to, wash the preference of the clothes of my nephew. Yes, yeah, it all boils down to what? Nobody will give that love to someone. It should start from the family members, the parents. All right, the acceptance of the parents, show love, compassion, be kind, all right, have empathy. Because as I've said, right, I am more on what? More on spirituality now. I do not really put judgment to whether, of course, because of this judgment given by the church, that of course if you have this sexual preference you will go to hell, right? That's the reason why they are trying to safeguard the children. All right, to go back to what, there are only two sexes here, male and female. But if, as I've said, science already recognized, no, that sexuality is something that we do not choose. So there should be what? Acceptance from the father, but that love and compassion, be kind. There should be empathy. Nobody can accept your children if from the family, from the household, will not accept. So that's for me is number one, the crucial role of the parents here to accept the children. All right, coming from that idea that nobody can accept your loved ones if you do not accept your children first. Yeah.
You mentioned
So,
also Dr. Rowe because you said that the Philippines now is a very
mm,
heavily patriarchal
correct. Yeah.
society
Mm-mm.
because of the influence of the church. So would you
Correct. Correct.
also say that it's very crucial, especially for the father, to show that
Mm.
acceptance also, especially for the men,
Yeah.
to also um the head of the family, the
Mm-mm.
male head of the family, to
Mm-mm.
show that acceptance to the children in in the context of the Filipino
Yeah.
culture and
Culture. Correct. Correct. Yeah. Actually it's really very hard at first, right? But then again, um, I mean, majority of the parents now, no, they accept their children. They start to accept their children, like my brother-in-law, right? Because he was a military, and therefore he was very masculine and all, and then he has only one son who happened to to have that sexual preference. So yeah, because of this, we can actually attribute all these the contributions of the society, the labels that we receive from the society. All right, that it's the nasty labels that we receive, and therefore you start people now. You're not yeah. We start feeling that we are a sinner. We have this guilt and shame now. We put on ourselves that we are a sinner, and yeah, because I myself I experienced that. excruciating. I have this excruciating experience when I first I got in love with yeah, when I was in
Wow.
high school. My first partner was a lesbian, and then I got this of course, since my mother was a Jehovah's Witness, and my auntie, my the family members are, majority of them are Roman Catholics, and then some of them are um, Protestant. And
Yep.
then they keep on telling me, I have been receiving this programming from them, that you will go to hell. There is no such thing as what? A lesbian or what? Because definitely you will go to hell. And then one time I just found myself that I'm crying to God, Jesus Christ, God, what is hell? If I go to hell, and why did you create me if you allow me to experience these feelings that I feel from this person now, and then you stop me from this feeling, and because of this belief that falling in love with the same sex is a sin, and I will definitely go to hell. And why did you allow me to experience this? So that is my, my experience.
Wow.
I received that from the family member, and yeah, they actually they tag me, they label me as what, deviant, because I really do not accept their norms or standards. What is norm to them is something that is not acceptable in my conscience. To my conscience, I do not accept it. Who who are they to to question my feelings, to question my preference? Yeah, it's really a matter of what? A matter of really fighting for your right to live. Because the right to live is the right of every human being. Because
Oh
if you
yeah.
deny your right, you deny man's humanity. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, Dr. Rowe. Thank you for sharing that very personal anecdote of yours.
Yeah.
I'm also throwing this question to the rest of the panelists, like, because this is a question that was thrown to by another ally also. How do how do you what is it to be a very good ally? Maybe
Yeah.
Reverend Reg,
Mm.
Yeah.
Jay, and Mira can answer these questions. What does it mean to be a good ally, and how do you become a better ally, so that our
Yeah.
viewers can get also enlightened on, especially for those of our members that are having difficulty coming out and difficulty getting accepted by their circle. So maybe this is a very crucial question that we can leave to you and for the audience also to learn from.
Yes. JP, I'd like to answer that question. Well, number one, I think what would make a very good ally for an LGBTQIA cutie, I, because the A
Yeah,
is for the ally.
I got lost with after the
Ah,
IA. I just got lost, so it's just
Yeah,
plus for me as a
okay.
member. I agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, one of the things that really helped me out was when my best friend, who's straight as an arrow, we were having this discussion in the clinic. And then she was telling me, I don't understand why you get so caught up in that head conversation of yours and all your insecurities, because it doesn't really matter to me that you're a lesbian and that you're openly gay.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And because I never think of it as a deficiency. So although to my best friend, it didn't really matter, but to me, it meant the world to me. It preoccupied a lot of my headspace. And something that I want to add, JP, because Dr. Rowe was saying something like the concept of being programmed as a sinner. You
Mm-hmm.
know, right now, there's an explosion of awareness and rallying for mental health and
Yeah.
rallying for caring for ourselves emotionally. But this is exploding because one of the things that has affected us for a very long period of time is really taking it to heart that we're sinners. And remember, in the Philippines, we have this constant litany of saying, "Forgive us our sins, we are sinners." And we are so
The culture
devoted
of
people.
guilt,
Correct.
Yeah. And
the culture
we
of
wonder,
guilt is very
yes,
very
it's embedded,
pervasive.
yes, in our culture. And now we're wondering why a lot of people need help in terms of mental health. And a personal experience of mine, when I was 19 years old, I went into business with friends and it didn't work out the way we wanted it to. And because I was so heavily programmed that if you're gay or you're a lesbian and if you have a partner of the same sex, you're going to hell and your life will be damned in this earth plane. So my natural reaction when I failed was I'm so embarrassed at my failure. I'm so ashamed of myself that the only thing that I can think of at 19 years old was to commit suicide. But I think if it wasn't programmed in me that I have to be guilty and ashamed of that particular experience, I don't think that it would have crossed my mind. So, this narrative of calling any LGBTQ individual as a sinner or they're going to hell or anything of that frequency, it will harvest into an experience of something that's very negative or limiting. And that's one of the reasons why I said yes to this panel discussion because we think that it doesn't matter, but it does. When you're an adolescent, it's the only thing that's running in your head.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's the reason why I'm very much concerned because now that I look back, I laugh about it.
But it was a
Especially,
struggle, I guess. Yeah,
yeah,
when you were there. I mean, I also share, this that similar struggle before, that kind of, guilt, that it's not really something that it's something that you're being conditioned by a lot of people around you, by your family, by your, by your the people you work with, by the people you study with, and by the religion that you're affiliated with before. So
yeah,
it's really quite and now that the mental health issue has been on the forefront, that
yeah,
maybe the COVID has only just, put it in the forefront.
yeah,
These things are becoming really more apparent. It has been more crucial to really discuss this as ever. So maybe this is the reason why we are all very serious in this discussion, because this is something that is not to be taken lightly, I guess.
yes. And
Maybe.
JP, I want to add because I have a client who's a very successful film director, TV and film
Wow.
director. And one of the things that we talked about when we were talking about culture, consciousness, and family upbringing, so he goes to one of these places of worship in Manila, and he went to this
Um, is it
place. Go ahead.
starting with can I
Wow, blind
mention?
item.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, yeah. But yeah, but I think
Yeah.
does it have C in its
So, uh, no, it's not that. But one of the
okay.
things that we talked about, so my client goes to attend the service of that particular religious institution. And apparently the priest was saying, "Oh, yung mga bakla kayo dyan, mapupunta kayo sa impyerno." So, you know,
What
if
a
that's the
strong
kind
word.
of thing,
Yeah,
if that's
yeah.
the kind of
Very
take that
blunt.
you hear.
Guys, like, ilang
So, of
beses na
course,
akong
of course, if you hear that, when you're a child, since you don't know any better, you
Correct.
actually focus on that particular mindset. But because we're already adults and we can laugh about it, we were just laughing our hearts out when we heard about it. But to a child and is a teenager and they're just beginning to understand who they are in in a place that's so big. To them, it means the world. So if you tell them something like that, they're really serious about it. But to us adults, we just, it's just another thing to laugh about.
Yes, so can I add on that on religion? Because one time I went to church. I'm a church girl until that
Mhm.
day, and then they were like talking about divorce, that there should
Mhm.
not be divorce. I walked out,
Mhm.
literally walked out, and never went back. And then my mom was asking me, "Why don't you go to church anymore?" Why would I go there? They're enabling abuse, especially also and with the LGBT. So I always advocate that if there's a divorce bill coming out, we divorce seekers would also support the other laws about LGBTQI because we are on the same boat. I have one question. Since most of you are in the LGBTQI community and the sinners community, sinners, and I
No,
have one joke.
please.
So there was my kids is I got married to somebody who's a fundamentalist, and now I am a tarot reader, and a kindred soul, and they were telling me, oh, he told us that you will go to hell, blah blah blah. Oh, you tell your daddy I'm Lilith. Who's Lilith? Okay, I discussed Lilith with them, but my kids, they knew how to balance. So that was my joke.
Yeah.
You shock them and tell him I'm Lilith, and then Tita Chelsea and I will go party in hell, and you go to heaven. It's so boring there. All of us will be in hell, and we'll go we'll go party there.
We'll party in hell.
So so
Yeah,
it's but my question is,
it's true.
since you're practicing spirituality on the outmoded portion, plus you are in the LBGT community, does it help, or does of course it helps with because you're aware of how to love yourself more than
Okay,
any other.
thank you for bringing that up because I want to make a follow-up statement to what I said. When I talked about someone being very successful in their film, regardless of your industry, for my client, even if he was already very successful in film and TV, in your subconscious programming, every now and then, you feel there's a limitation
Yes, yes.
because of things like that. Although we were laughing about it, we both knew that there were many instances in our lives that we felt insecure as LGBTQ people, especially one time Jay and the rest of the Rainbow Society and I were having
Mm.
this conversation. As LGBTQIA, we feel that we have to
Overcompensate.
impress people.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
Overcompensation.
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so you're
We have
in
to
that
make some
performance
extra
mode.
effort. Yeah,
Yes.
mm,
So
and work
please
hard
talk
for
more
it.
about it, Jay and JP, because I know you guys have a lot to share. Because in talking about someone being so successful, I'm not sharing it to brag that I know somebody successful, but I'm sharing it because there's always that, you're so successful, but you're always asking if you're enough
Yep.
Mm,
because of
mm.
that particular indoctrination that wasn't really elevating in any way. So
Yeah.
please go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to the question of JP and what would make one to be an effective ally. And I think to become an effective ally, one must cultivate first and foremost compassion.
Mhm.
Compassion, identifying yourself with the pain of the other person.
Correct.
When you are compassionate, you can feel other person's pain,
Mhm.
and that on that level, on the level of the soul, we are all the same. We may have different sexual orientations, different from different backgrounds and family upbringing, but on the essential level, we are all one. We breathe the
Correct. Correct.
same air, the same breath. What would make me different from you on the essential level? So please, families out there, exercise compassion. Be merciful, you know.
Yeah, I would
Yeah, I
also
agree.
Mm,
Mm-mm.
like
Go
to
ahead, Mira.
that yeah, acceptance is probably one of the acceptance and compassion is one of the most important keys and the greatest gift you can give. For example, for your child, I've experienced a lot of parents who, for example, with their trans children, are in their way of thinking to protect them. They actually refuse to acknowledge their identity as their chosen gender, and so this is very harmful for the person, because not feeling seen, not feeling accepted the way you are is much more painful and challenging than making some kind of mistake, so to speak. So I would encourage people to allow, if you want to support your child or somebody close to you, support them and listen to them and try to understand them, instead of trying to convince them of what's right for them, because this will push them further away from you, while creating that feeling of being loved and accepted just the way you are can create so much more connection and love. And there, things like pronouns can be very, very important, even if you don't understand why this person wants to use this name or these pronouns. If you want to support them, then it means a lot if you try. And even if you mess up sometimes, it's okay. Just admit it and try again. It
Yes,
means.
I agree.
Yeah. I think, with the use of pronouns, as a member, I didn't really realize how really crucial it is until I'm now employed at an agency that values diversity and inclusion. And we do have, like, trainings on what it is to be really diverse and what it is to be really inclusive. I mean, because these two are related, but they're not really synonymous. Like, it's like when the diversity is asking someone to come to the party. Inclusion is asking them to dance at the party. I mean, that's the simplest way to explain diversity and inclusion. And with the pronoun, I didn't really. I was wondering, why is it that some would emphasize the use of he, him, or she, her, or they, there, until I realized that when Reverend Reg was explaining how your expression of yourself, how you see yourself, aligns to your own spiritual expression. And that's why I came to value now and become more sensitive, and even become more sensitive of the pronouns, because it's the way a person identifies himself, herself, themselves, and how they wanted to be acknowledged. And in
Yeah.
that sense, it's also a form of respect also to the person, where he, she, they are coming from. And that's why I started using my own pronouns, as because even I, as a member of the community, it's also an ever it's still a process of learning for me. It's a process also of I'm not really, I don't really say that because I am a member community, I understand the whole, the diverse, the plethora of our community. It's an ever
True,
evolving,
true.
I'd say, landscape for us also. And I'm also continuously learning. And and I just really found out recently the importance of pronouns. So I guess maybe in our small way we have really shared the why these maybe are small gestures, but they really mean a lot to most of us.
Yeah, thank you for acknowledging that, JP. In fact, I was talking to Mira the other day when I was asking her to educate me. So, just for the sake of other people, and I was asking her, So this she, her, he, him, they, them business, am I
Mhm.
supposed
Correct.
to call Jay, for example, Jay, he, him? Do I do that
Yeah,
simultaneously?
yeah, yeah.
And
I
then
was wondering
Mira,
on that first. Because in the tarot, in the one tarot circle I attended, it was officiated by a Zen as a Zen teacher. In a tarot Zen teacher, we have this kind of monthly Zoom tarot gathering. I see some of the Zoom participants. They have this he slash him beside their name. It's like I was wondering, why do they try to, the same thing that you're wondering about, Reverend Reg. And then, when I went into this diversion and inclusivity class, then I become to understand, the importance of pronoun. So even for me, it's like, another learning curve for me.
exactly. In
You
fact,
know where I learned it? As in, if you want
When?
to take this normal into your life, a practice where people would refer themselves and would really tell you what, well, go to Twitter, go to the
Hmm.
BTS Army fandom. Everyone
Oh, yeah.
has everyone has that. So it's a very educating experience for me who's a Gen X and then interacting with Gen Zs. How different and how diverse they are. And that's why I love the woke culture. I love the cancel culture. But there are some rough edges to do. But this is since we were talking about patriarchy. Um, if you really want to see the future, you talk to these kids in Twitter, in
Correct.
different fandoms. Kahit Katniel pa yan, kahit SB19 pa yan, they're there in small packs and you could learn a lot. And then you will realize na, oh, there will come a time where it wouldn't really matter because, we will see more of the soul than what is physical. This is just physical, and we are souls first than being physical. And the body is so difficult. So that's why I really really like Mira's story of transitioning, because she's a physical manifestation of male and female energies, and that's so amazing. I have another friend whose chromosome is really XY, 50-50.
Mm.
Yeah, may 1% of the. So we are really evolving from dinosaurs to not dinosaurs. So
yeah.
Mira,
Old.
thank you. I feel really blessed meeting you. There's somebody who's really manifested physically what we feel inside, and that's a different kind of gift to make us understand what we're going through.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And also,
Awesome.
so it's 11:54 p.m. Good evening, everyone. So, malapit na mag-midnight. Napahaba ang
Mm-hmm.
It was a
uh,
very
our
intense
our
discussion.
discussion is very, very, how do you call
Long.
this? Long and nutritious.
I
So
think we
there,
need a part two for this. Another
right? And
session,
Yeah, yeah, because I
continuing
think
so,
the
dialogue.
1.5 hours is just not really enough
Mm-mm.
to maybe
Mm-mm.
One
a lot has
session for
changed.
each speaker, and then the three
Yeah.
of us. One straight, one. Can beautiful be my pronoun? Oh no, just kidding.
Yes,
Why not?
beautiful. Yes,
pronoun.
beautiful.
Why not?
Mm.
So, there are some of our panelists who wants to promote um, their Facebook page and website. So, first, Reverend Reg, go ahead, please, and invite everyone who wants
Yes.
to check out Coherence Data Collection page.
Mabuhay, everyone. Please visit Philippine Coherence Initiative in Facebook, and we put the link there. That's Coherence data collection. So just type at Philippine Coherence Initiative. What we're doing is to come together every day for synchronized prayer and meditation, and we do it the metaphysical way. So I want to share this with everyone because we come from a very Christian background, and we know about the power of words in metaphysics and how you're really living your life by design. So one of the things that we talk about in the Lord's Prayer, which I learned from my teacher in University of Metaphysics. Her name is Dr. Cindy Palos. When we call on the Lord's Prayer, we say Father, Mother of the Cosmos, which is also the image and likeness of all of us, containing both energies, the yin and the yang. Father, Mother of the Cosmos, shimmering light of all, focus your light within us as you breathe your holy breath. So this is the reason why I made sure that that prayer is included in the daily practice, because when I was growing up, that Lord's Prayer has been recited so many times in my family and in my school. And what it does, it's going to help you connect to the God power and presence within you a lot easier, so that you can navigate your life with more ease, with more joy, and you come up with the most benevolent outcome, no matter where you turn, because God is within you. And I know it's not easy for a lot of people to absorb right away, because we've had years of programming thinking that God is always separate from us, but in truth, God is within us and is manifesting in everyone, in everything, both forces seen and unseen. So it's something that I encourage everyone to visit. And, if you have some suggestions in the page, please go ahead and share it. And also, if you want to work with me, please visit www.reverendreg.com and you can see how we can work together. And I'm happy to accommodate all of you. Awesome. Thank you for that,
Thank you.
Chelsea.
Thank you. And Jay?
Yeah, I'd like to share my screen so that I can show the page that I would like to promote. Hold on. All right.
Celine
Here's
Veloso came in late.
here's the
Please
page.
greeting, good evening.
Yeah, so I'd like to promote the Carl Jung Circle Center where I belong. That's my group here in Manila, and we have a YouTube channel. It's called the Carl Jung Circle Center, and we have this particular playlist which is also I'm involved with. It's the Soul Conversations. These are our effort to bring to the wider audience, to the Filipino audience, the depth psychology of Carl Jung. So there, please visit us and like our channel and subscribe, of course.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
We will definitely subscribe. And Mira?
Hi, I would love for you to visit my webpage at miraimirari.com. I'm an artist, and here you can find some of my works. Or if you would like to get in touch with you, I do commissions or intuitive artworks to support you on your journey. There's also a link to my Etsy shop on the web page, where you can. I have posted my first digital download print, so you can buy a digital download of one of my works and print it out yourself or at your local printing shop. But I would love for you to get in touch with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mira. That's awesome. I did check out your website.
Yeah, I'm
And
going to buy soon at your Etsy store. I'm an
yes,
Etsy supporter. It's
Etsy
awesome.
support. Yeah, DIY
Uh,
supporter and handmade
yeah,
supporter here.
yeah.
And Dr. Ro, you have any?
Well, hello, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, I work as a professor for 25 years, and I have been a consultant to international researches and modules and academic documents, and to those who can avail of my services doing their who would like to get help from me doing their researches, you can visit my my what's this Facebook page and message me, no, Guzman. And of course, I'd like to promote the business of my daughter, Rimpangus e-commerce. She's selling, of course, food and clothes and shoes and all. And yeah, that's basically what I'm busy about now. Okay.
Thank you so
Dr.
much.
Rowe, you have your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah,
Maybe can you
I will
provide?
be reactivating it again soon.
Okay.
Soon. I just need the the help of a very brilliant and of course an
Someone
awesome
who's techie.
editor.
Yeah, awesome. A techie
Tricky
person.
correct
Yeah,
person
Right.
to help me
yeah.
with the
And
editing.
Apolawin, you have something to promote also?
Yeah, sure. So tomorrow we're going to have cacao meditation. It's at 3 p.m. So for everyone who will have their cacao brew shipped tomorrow, please wait for your deliveries, and we will all drink it at the same time. And for those who have their powdered form already delivered to them, we will post the instructions in the Bake in Premium Facebook group. So yeah, just wait. I'll wait for the instructions. And yeah, see you there because it's gonna be amazing and fun and yeah.
See you for such an anticipated and very new experience. Syempre, for us who haven't had any cacao ceremony experience. So, ayun. So, it's 12:03. So, happy midnight. And it's another day
Hello.
today. So, we would like to invite Jay to lead
Let's see. Okay.
uh, the closing meditation for the day and to give
Okay.
thanks from
So
3
I'd like
p.m.
to,
now.
yeah. So I'd like to bring you to a brief healing meditation. This is a good way to close this discussion and this very enriching session. So if you can take a deep cleansing breath now, I sound the bell. Take a deep breath. Relax your face. Relax your shoulders. Relax your whole being now. And you're going to enter a sacred and holy place within you, where your mind will be quiet, where your body will be still, and where your heart will be peaceful. If you are seated on a chair, sit with your spine straight, or if you're lying down, some of our viewers perhaps, just relax and drift into a quiet, peaceful relaxation as you allow my voice to accompany you now in the sacred space we call silence. And as you inhale deeply and exhale slowly, pay attention to your breath. Inhale, exhale. God is in the silence, and silence is our great teacher. Savor the inner silence now. If you are tired and weary, this is your time to pray and to give thanks. And so, within this brief period of relaxation, rest your mind from thinking, rest your body from moving, rest your heart from all anger, all resentments, all emotions that will bring in noise into your life. You may close your eyes now, and as you close your eyes, as you allow your whole being to rest now, listen to the following words and allow the energies of these words to penetrate deeply into your soul. Have no fear. Be not afraid. Be healed. You are forgiven. You are loved. You are precious. Wonderful, amazing gift. Be still. Take a few moments to savor these words deep within your soul. Allow these words, like soothing balm, to ease your anxieties, your discomforts from within. And open your life to your own greatness with a flow of abundance. And you will find God in every corner of your life, in every event that happens to you. No blame, no judgment, no criticism, no condemnation, just love, just love, just love. You are alive, alert, and aware of this blessing. And you feel God's blessing falling upon you now, bringing you the gift of healing, the gift of joy, the gift of oneness with everything, every being in the universe, oneness with yourself, with your God, with the whole universe, because you are special, you are loved, and you are a beautiful person. Do not doubt, just believe. With God, nothing is impossible. And you are now feeling, receiving healing for your soul, blessing and forgiveness, even to those who have hurt you. Continue to inhale deeply, exhale slowly, savoring the joy that you are feeling from within. Inhale, exhale. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. Taking another deep cleansing breath, you will emerge from this brief relaxation, an acknowledgement of your preciousness, with a great sense of peace and joy in your heart. You will emerge revived, refreshed, recreated, and rested. And you will slowly wake with a great sense of joy in your heart. May I be safe and protected. May I be healthy and strong. May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering. And so it is. Blessing. Thank you, everyone. Good evening to all.